One of our guest regulars is back, health professional Audrey Wall. You're becoming a fixture around here, Audrey.
What can I say? I love it here.
Excellent. Now we're talking about something serious. Lymphedema is
Yes.
on the topic today. So tell me, break that down. There's lymph, and then there's edema. Is that right?
You're absolutely right. Lymph refers to a system in our body called the lymphatic system. And what that lymphatic system does is it filters a lot of our bodily fluids inside of us. It's kind of like if you would picture a highway system on a map. And in that highway system are on-ramps and off-ramps. And you may have heard people talk about lymph nodes. And lymph nodes are those little interchanges and the on-ramps and off-ramps where traffic can go and move and shift direction. Now, there's two kinds of lymphedema. There's primary and secondary, which just means that primary, your body's not working its lymphatic system on its own as efficiently as it could. So it's a genetic thing. Secondary lymphedema refers to when something happens after a trauma or a surgery, say for cancer treatment. You may have heard people say, well, they took out this tumor and they took the lymph nodes around it. That's when they're testing to see if the cancer has gotten into the lymph, which means that if it has, it will demand this kind of treatment, and if it hasn't, it will talk about this kind of treatment. So it's very specific on what it does. But when some of those lymph nodes are taken out, what can happen is that it's kind of like closing an interchange on the highway. You get congestion from traffic, or you can get congestion in that limb. And a really great example is when someone has had breast cancer surgery. So let's say they have a mastectomy or a partial mastectomy or something to do with their breast cancer. The surgeons will often take lymph nodes from their armpit, which is called the axilla, and they will take those lymph nodes out. Well, what can sometimes happen is post-surgical lymphedema, where the limb becomes heavy and painful and swollen and very difficult to live with. That is lymphedema.
Now, it's not a cancer.
No, it is
not.
not.
But your oncologist has a role to play in this. Is
Absolutely,
that right?
yeah. Anybody who's been through cancer treatment should have had that conversation with their physician. Generally, there's not a lot of doctors in the area who actually diagnose it. Interestingly enough, there was a study done by an American cardiologist who found, he studied North American medical schools. And his study found that the ones who studied it the most, the schools that studied it the most, spent 30 minutes on lymphedema during the whole of medical school. And the ones who studied the least was 15 minutes. So it's 15 minutes to half an hour of the entirety of medical school. So it's not really a well-known issue, but it's not an uncommon issue. There's about 1 million Canadians with lymphedema.
Out of 35 million, that's
a big number. Yeah.
Any signs or symptoms that anybody can look for when it comes to this?
Absolutely. The first things are a heaviness. Say it's in your arm. You can have it in your legs. You can have it in your chest wall. You can have it in your groin. It's kind of a heavy feeling.
Why would it be heavy?
Well, because liquid is collecting there.
Okay.
Right? It's becoming congested. And it's a heavy feeling. It can be painful. It can be difficult, say, to lift your arm. It can be difficult to walk if it's your leg. Often it's just one side of your body, but it can be both sides. And it's changing shape and size. Your skin will change a little bit. The size of your leg will change. So you'll have one leg that's bigger than the other. Those are the typical things to look for.
How do we treat it?
Oh, treatment is multifaceted. Treatment is a lot about decongestion, which means trying to take the swelling out of that limb and try to get it into the rest of your body, kind of working efficiently. There are manual decongestive therapies where a massage therapist who's specially trained it's a gentle kind of massage, not that deep tissue. It's a different kind of massage. There's also garments that you can wear that help keep the lymph moving. Interestingly, it was a man in the 1800s, I think, who had a wife with lymphedema, but he didn't know what to call it at that time. And he happened to be at the zoo, and he was looking at the giraffes, and he wondered, why do giraffes not get swollen ankles? And he did some research, and he found out that giraffes don't have any elasticity in the skin of their legs. So a giraffe will never get a swollen ankle. So he went home and he started binding his wife's legs to see if that would happen, to not let the skin stretch. And voila, a therapy was born.
Now, with lymphedema, I'm assuming, early detection is key. What happens if we let it go?
Oh, unfortunately, the person's going to be very uncomfortable, and that is the biggest thing. But it's not a forever thing. There's definitely help to be found. And one of the things that I'm trying to do at my foot care clinic is to bring services to people and to help them navigate the healthcare system, because it's very difficult when it's lymphedema.
Anything else that you kind of want to add to this whole conversation? It's broad.
We have just taken the top of the iceberg off here. But yeah, you know what? It's all about not letting it go when you say to your doctor, look, something's wrong here. My arm isn't feeling right. There's swelling, there's heaviness, I don't know what to do. Don't let them say, well, you're getting older, or, this is just something that happens. There are ways for you to get help.
So you almost push for a referral?
I would say you advocate for yourself, possibly for a referral to a cardiovascular doctor, or just talk to your oncologist, your family doctor, and do some research. The Canadian Lymphedema Framework is a very, very good website for more information.
What is that website?
CLF, Canadian Lymphedema Framework. Just put Lymphedema Framework in and the Canadian one will pop right up.
Lymphedema, not lymphoma, is that right?
Not lymphoma, that's a whole other thing.
All right, Audrey, thank you so much for coming again.
Thanks, Anthony.